Though, I would say that if I lived in those times and I had to be tortured, I hope they gave me the lobster treatment. They said that forcing people to eat lobster was said to be torture. Like, oh no, don't! Please don't melt that butter. Whatever you do, I can't.
Not like lobster, huh? That's weird.
Yeah, they thought that the lobster was disgusting, and they considered it torture food. I'm like, dude, like, don't take him. I'll take his place.
Yeah, for sure.
Putting on my little lobster bib on.
Crackers.
All right. First, just for fun.
I gotta have a big old stack of pillows if I'm asleep with a dude.
Oh man, what's that?
I gotta have a big old stack of pillows if I'm asleep with a dude.
For the rollover group.
You might have said that
I did
yesterday.
If we spend the night together, it's gonna be a big ass wall between us.
I miss pillow fights.
Why
does that happen? Just go on the ground.
Water bottle. Get a wide mouth water bottle.
That is the thinnest
You gotta
shit.
put it right up against the bottle.
like
Just make
spaghetti
sure
poop.
there's no leak.
Or diarrhea.
It's got a butt-shaped funnel that you just sit on.
Okay, I like that.
Octopus sucker
Yeah.
mimic.
Stable.
that.
It's stable. It's stable.
Yeah, I'm glad we figured
It's a
that
glass
I would just hold it in
water bottle.
until it came out the other time.
Highbrow combo right there.
Jeez. That was your podcast yesterday?
That was a little bit of it, and it was a great time.
out. Yeah, we had Kyle from Kyle and 8 Minute Mile, Sam, Kat, Sarah,
Flagman Band,
Yeah.
Kai Minute Mile, Quill Darling.
Quill. Yeah.
I just, like, right before Thad, you walked in 15 minutes after T. When he walked in, I was hitting post to send it up on Instagram. And Kyle's already followed us and liked it. And I got their link trees. I got everything kind of set up on the website there. So
That was
go check
cool.
it out and listen to it, man. It's great.
Big thanks to
It was
everybody.
a short 45-minute podcast.
Oh, there was one.
Real nice, real good time Sunday afternoon. You know,
Cinco
he
de
brought him
Mayo.
over. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo yesterday. It was beautiful out yesterday.
I wish I gotta get. That would have been a fun podcast to participate in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with tequila. Huh?
Oh yeah.
So let's get this intro started, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
Ready?
Che. This part coming up is supposed to have some Barney Miller vibes. Right down here. That.
Here we go. There. Okay. I can hear my own voice.
Well, howdy doody, ladies and gents.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
This is your host, Scott Geyser. Along with me are two more co-hosts. These guys, we have Che, back for his third appearance, right?
I think it's third
Third or fourth.
or fourth. Most likely fourth.
And we have Thad over here on his maybe 30th or so appearance.
Greetings.
Man, we got to get you like a Hall of Fame, like
Yeah, something.
plaque and everything. You
Yeah.
hear so much, man.
Plaque up on the wall.
I get you a room. How you guys doing?
Well,
Great,
And,
great.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
and then
What is it? The 7th,
7th to 6th. The 6th. Tomorrow,
6th.
7th.
What's the first day of summer?
The 20. The solstice is what the
21st.
21st. 21st. Yeah, 21st.
Do we?
Longest day.
Yep.
Okay.
Longest day of the year is June 21. And then we'll be ticking down with our daylight hours to December 21.
It's starting to get a little hot
Yeah, a little pretty warm.
today. I'm telling you, I've been out back for weeks now. It's like hard to even get into this room in here, into the studio, because it's been so nice and refreshing and windy outside in the evenings, especially. that I'm out there watching TV, laying out there with the dogs, falling asleep.
Wow,
You know?
Yeah.
And it's finally now the pool's warming up, so I'm jumping in the pool now, and then when it gets hot, coming inside.
It's beginning to look a lot like Florida. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's fixing
No
to get
doubt.
hot. We need rain. We need a little bit of rain.
You got to get him in the studio. You hear that voice?
Yeah.
That was magical.
Come on, it's not a,
Dude, when you go to Italy, you got to do like a wine mixer or something. Got to get a cool drummer at least.
Something. Where I stay in Italy, we have a bunch of nuns who live next to us, and I would have to hear them singing at least once a day. And
Do they have like some at least some like Sister Act skills, or is
No
it like
Sister Act, no.
Sister Mary Clarence skills?
no soul
are they
music.
singing?
It's more like they kind of sound like the Von Trapp family,
Okay,
but they're nice. They're very
the Von
nice.
Trapps.
It's like Edelweiss and shit like that.
Is that your reveille over there?
That's cool.
The
Like, is
revel-
it early or?
No, they don't sing early in the morning. Sometimes a truck would go down the road, and they would announce, like they'll say heart of lettuce on sale for €3 or something like that. And that or the church bells would wake up. But I mean, it's good when they wake me up at 7 or 8. That's like the best time to start your day. You start at 10. You already missed 2 hours of the day. Oh great, I had to wait. Oh man, that was a good nap. I woke up at 10. I gotta eat breakfast, and in 2 hours is lunch.
Not in the summer. When are you going?
I'll be technically in Europe by June.
And one more time, you did your itinerary, but you starting in Seattle pretty soon.
Yeah, first Seattle, then Spain, and Italy, and then back here.
Cool. And you'll be back in time to enjoy the heat of the summer.
I'll be
August?
back. Yeah, August, which is like the worst month of the summer here.
The least windless month.
So when you travel like this,
Or the most windless month.
you're not when you leave here, you're not going somewhere, coming back, going somewhere, coming back. You're going, and you got a whole itinerary of
Yep.
things you're doing.
I'll be abroad for practically 2 months.
You're going to be a girl for 2 months.
So abroad.
Yeah, can you open that up for us?
Oh, you
Let's-
pedestrian language.
Let's taco about this.
I'll be overseas for like 2 months.
Nice. Hey, tell me this: how when you do that? I've never gone overseas. First off, but I've only ever if I've left the country or done anything, I overpack. Like I got to bring. I think I need everything, and I think whatever I don't bring, I'm gonna need when I'm gone, which is not true. I don't use half of the things I bring usually. How do you pack for a trip like that?
The more you travel, the more you realize like what you need. Now, there's no definite answer on this. The way how I do it, I bring with me a week's worth of clothes, and so that
And what is a week's worth of clothes? Is that a morning, middle of the day, and evening attire? Or is that one outfit from wake up in the morning till you go to bed at night no matter what?
now that's the thing. Like with me, I like going on walks, but if you're going on in the summer, you're gonna need to have a shirt you wear when you go on walks and a shirt you wear whenever you're eating with family. So I would say, let's just say seven shirts plus 2 or 3 for the exercise, a couple of two pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants, 7, or actually I bring 8 pairs of socks, and just because I always bring an additional set just in case. So basically it's a week's worth of clothes. Think of a week's worth of
And then washing, you have a washer machine
Yeah, washing
access or
machine.
something, and you can reset if in a pinch you can just wash.
Yeah, like after a week, I would put a week or 5 days. I put the clothes to wash, but then, but I would have a set of clothing to wear while the clothes is being washed.
Do you wash them before you come home, so when you come home they're all clean again?
Yeah, I tend to wash all the clothes back then. Sometimes,
Can you film it?
What?
Can you film it this time for us, please?
We want to see this in action.
Well, film me
This is
putting
really
my clothes in the
interesting to
washing
us, yeah.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean film like?
Film it, dude.
Yeah, just film the whole thing. Can you put like a GoPro on your head and
It's-
just film every time you pack and unpack?
Well,
Hey, you still got the terry cloth headband, right?
And do like
Terry cloth headband and wristbands.
you could do like a DIY, like telling us how and why you do the things you do. Like I saw this one thing on this property millionaire guys. He's one of these real weird dudes. He takes everything that he packs with him. He like buys a whole box of Ziploc bags, and then everything goes in Ziplocs. Each shirt, each pair underwear.
that's not a bad
Everything
idea.
gets its. I mean, it's about the neatest you could probably get, right?
It is pretty.
But I mean, no way. My bag when it's coming back. Usually, I try to wash things if I have a place to wash. But if not, there's one bag of just gross, and then another overpacked bag because I bought things wherever I am too. Probably.
Soiled loincloth.
Sometimes there can be. I would try to get the night before I travel. I try to clean all the clothes that all the dirty clothes, so I have it clean in my bag. But I would set aside one set of clothes to wear on the day I leave, and the clothes that I'm wearing the night before, I just like, oh well, you're not exactly dirty. I'm just putting you in with the clean ones, and
Yeah.
But it's also important to consider, like, and what electronics am I bringing? I'll have to bring a charger. Sometimes I bring 2 chargers and 2 adapters. It's always good to have a backup.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It really is.
And it also depends, like, are you bringing back any gifts? How much are you carrying? Once I would have,
Gotta mail some stuff back, maybe.
that's the thing. I once considered mailing some stuff that I could not carry in my luggage. I figured, you know what? I don't really need it. Yeah, just like there are plenty of head busts. I love to collect head busts of famous people.
Head buffs.
Busts.
Head bust. What's that?
They're
Plural.
They're basically the elegant,
Like a fake statue with
elegant.
just the chest
Oh,
and the
like
head.
a head mold.
Yeah, like a head mold.
I need when you're there. Can you buy? No, I know you're not doing this for real, but
There,
I need to get some like T. If you see any mannequin heads, 'cause we got our Wayne's World wigs, and I keep trying to find places to put them that's cool, and they're
Yep.
really good wigs, and I need like a head thing to put back here somewhere,
I'm sure you can go to one of those.
like a mannequin head.
You can go,
Or a womanican head.
A womannequin head would be a very nice addition to the studio.
We'll keep our eye out for mannequin heads for you.
Thank you.
you can always. I'm sure I can go to a clothing store. Step 1, go there. Step 2, convince them you're not weird. And 3, ask them if you can
Soccer
get
ball.
one of the,
Like,
Can you drill a hole in the mouth of this head
oh, tantalizing.
so I can talk. So it can talk.
so it can speak?
But when thing is, there's a I can't bring you. First of all, they have mannequin heads here, but there's an I don't know if it's still open, but there's a statue store near the Trevi Fountain. They had almost a statue of almost every person I liked.
Made out
except
of what?
Tom Jones.
Made out of foam.
No, like made out of
Probably like some kind of like a
alabaster or
plaster of Paris or something.
no.
Right?
This is like stone, rock. Like if you go, if
like a granite head.
Roca.
it looks, I can't recall what the substance is, but it's
Hey T, look it up.
it's rock.
Italian heads.
What are you going to get
Head
busts
bust.
that are that big or like this big?
I used to get. I have.
I ain't seen no busts at your house.
Oh, the there's Julius Caesar, there's Augustus, there's Marcus Aurelius, Septimius Severus. I got Goethe. I got even the worst emperors, Nero and Caracalla. But I also have a head bust of Napoleon in my room and one of Shakespeare.
Damn, I was not paying attention. There you go.
There-
They all got busted.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you usually just get the heads, though. You don't go for like the rest of the body.
It's well, that's the thing. Yeah, the heads is. Strangely, a head bust back in the ancient times was the closest thing you can get to a portrait of a person.
Hey.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
There's a Donald Trump one right there
The
too.
difference between a bust and
Next
head
to
bust.
Marcus Aurelius.
a bust.
Bust ain't got no arms or head, but a head bust has a head.
That's what the thing is. A bust can be interpreted as just a head bust, but sometimes like
I never heard somebody say head bust.
busts can also have. Also, I've seen
No head, no arms.
So sometimes it can have the upper chest included, but that's
8-pack.
about it.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of. They had Cicero. They had Marcus Agrippa, the guy who built the Pantheon, the guy who defeated Cleopatra's navy. They had plenty of people. So many people wanted to bring. Each head bust was like 20, 15 euros. I couldn't buy them all. But I'm happy with what I got. I don't need every head bust.
There's one I remember that may be still around that somebody said that it was the closest thing to how Alexander actually looked. He was a little bit turned to the left, and he goes, "Oh, so and so's sculpture is the realist, resembling him," and it may still be around. Is that right?
I need to go. I never
That's cool.
read that before, but I'm sure there are historical accounts where they said what Alexander the Great looked like. I know the Ptolemies kept a history of that.
I know I read somewhere that in the Forum, when they're slinging statues and busts back in the day in Rome, that they have the sign Sincera without wax, right? So they didn't fill in any rookie holes with wax. So some people think that's where sincerity is sincere, without wax, the real deal.
Oh, that makes
Well, etymology possibility.
I never thought of that. That kind of makes
So do you have like head bust satchels that you bring them back in like a bowling ball thing?
Now
because then you could put like a real head in there possibly.
Now here's where the packing of clothing can become useful because they're I don't want them to break. I would actually, when it's time to pack, I would basically wrap one in socks or in a shirt to basically
Prison weapon.
Protect.
Yeah, dude.
No, they go under the plane.
Homie, don't play that.
Yeah.
But
Batteries or busts.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on how much I want to get for myself and how much I want to get for other people.
That's cool.
I remember once I packed with me a sports bag, but I never used it until the day that I left Europe, because in the airport in Rome, Fiumicino, I finally took out the sports bag that I had in my luggage the entire time, and the luggage went under the plane, but I brought the sports bag with me through security and into the terminal, and I filled up that sports bag with all these duty-free chocolates.
I love it when he brings me chocolates from wherever.
It's just full.
They don't melt.
Chocoholic.
They stay solid. You don't got nothing to worry about.
They don't melt. I don't have to worry about the chocolates going under the plane, because sometimes when they take the bags, they put them on the plane, they just let them hang out outside until.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that.
Turn into
Oh, they does. Yeah, I'm always worried about that kind of.
So I carry the bag. So I literally fill up the bag. It's completely stuffed.
Do that to claim the food?
No, because it's on. As long as I have the receipt, it's from duty free. So
okay.
I don't have to worry about taxes, and you can bring chocolates in. It's not like it's meat or
like some kind of fresh produce of some kind.
Exactly, and so I'm able to bring that in, but it's like Mr. Creosote from the Meaning of Life from Monty Python.
Okay, I don't.
It's a very, very large, this very obese character. He looks like he's about to explode.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that's what my bag looks like. It's just completely full of chocolates. Spent about
That's awesome.
200 euros buying chocolates. But I tell you, it's worth
So
it.
can you fit a paper thin wafer in the last thing you do? Put in there.
I can't take another bite.
You're gonna when you're over there, you're gonna eat so good.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna. The food there is amazing. Especially my favorite thing in Spain. Out of all the foods I love there, I love this
Oxtail soup.
not actually. It was more
I'm
like
just messing with you.
more this cured meat called fuet, Fuet. It's really good.
What is it, ham?
No, it's basically it's what they call a type of salchichon. It's basically a cured. It's like a type of chorizo, I would assume, but it's not.
I don't know what any of those are.
Shave it off and it looks like sushi, and it's all.
What animal is that?
Ever seen those
Salty.
cured those dry cured sausages hanging?
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it is, and they come at a good price.
So it's a dried sausage that has like a mixture of animals.
Lip size ears and
That's a good question.
Is
I
it
never
like
thought of
pork,
that.
chicken, beef, like a hot dog kind of thing?
I would
But
say
like
just-
a custom mix, like some head cheese and.
I would say it's just pork, but now you got me thinking. I wonder, do they add other? I don't think so.
Because like here, when they put like now they always put like multiple, like even when you get venison, it's so lean that they'll ask you what kind of fat you would like to add to your venison. Like you do a beef fat or another type of fat.
I hate that
they add to it, but otherwise it just doesn't have the same flavor or won't like stay connected.
Are you still going to that fawn mill on 50 for your meat?
Me?
Yeah.
I just shoot them right outside.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's a crow or whatever it is.
That's cool.
I had owl the other day. It was really good.
Better made you wise.
Dude.
Who?
He had owl.
We we have a couple owls that hang out back, and I thought they were killing something, but these two hawks were outside, I guess mating.
Yeah, I saw that footage you sent me.
And I thought they were trying to kill something and chase something down, because then there were like, even the next day they were out there and there was a red cardinal that was like swooping in, just a bright red.
Aggro,
swooping right in towards him, like he was trying to argue with him and like claim territory, and they weren't having
Feisty.
it. Then it took off.
I love cardinals. They're so cool.
They love the rear view mirror. They get all narcissistic.
Well, you had so you actually had owl?
No,
Because like
I don't kill anything outside.
It was minced owl.
I understand.
I was just trying to.
I understand it kind of it can kind of in a way stalk you, telling you missed 3 days of practicing language, and it can get
How many licks does it take to get to the center of an owl?
1, 2, 3. I remember that commercial.
Do you
That was old school.
That is.
do you guys did y'all watch the Kentucky Derby?
No, I don't watch the Kentucky Derby.
I bet $100 and I won $100 back.
You want to?
I broke even. From being up in Louisville and stuff, I went to in 1988 to the Kentucky Derby and saw Winning Colors win, and it was a good memory from what I can remember. I remember we signed the metal post, where we're sitting at and everything, my name, and as an adult, got to have an experience on the backstretch, of the Derby.
Stable relationship with the Derby.
And they had like a barbecue back there with some of the owners, and when the horses were finishing on the other end, the jockeys would start talking to the people where we were, like the owners and the managers of these horses and these jockeys and whatnot. It was just a really cool experience to mingle with that side of the business of horse racing. It was really
horse racing,
really interesting,
pretty intense,
really cool. And so about 7-8 years ago, Twin Spires came out with an app, to where you can like place your wagers for the Derby and all the horse races from their facilities and whatnot. And I got the app, and I had I picked a horse and it won, and I won like $300 or $400.
Whoa.
And I actually made him mail me a check so I could hang the check up, somewhere around here still. And the next year I won. The next year I picked the right horse. This 2 years ago, I picked the right horse that actually ended up winning, but not that won that day. The horse that won got disqualified. Then my horse won, so I got second. So I didn't really win that week. And then last year I lost completely. I didn't win anything. And then this year I kind of broke even.
I broke even a few times when I bet on the horse. When I was a kid, I used to bet on the horses in Italy. I often broke even. Once I actually got more than what I won like 3 times in a row. That was like my luckiest streak ever. And I remember you can bet 10 or 20 or 30 just to start off with, and you have they taught me to turn the betting lingo.
It's interesting, the exactas and the trifectas and the exactas, and there's so many different ways you can do. You can bet on it to place the show. Pick 3 horses. It don't matter who gets first, second, or third. Just pick the right 3 horses. You can do it in an exact route and pick the top 3. it's amazing all the different ways, and it's just it's 2 minutes of watching. Like you watch all the build up to it. They're talking about all the horses, everybody in their big old hats and dressed up and everything, and it's a cool thing. It was pretty neat. And then we had Cinco de Mayo Sunday. We got to record with the band and hang out with all the guys, and
Nice.
We got to see Scott's garden out
Yep.
back. It's tuned up.
it's doing really
pretty
good,
bitchin'.
man. I just put a bunch of garden lime down. That's one thing I'm trying to get better at. Is I haven't fertilized much at all. I'm just kind of putting things in the ground, chop dropping, let nature kind of be it, But there are some things that I'm putting back there and growing that some good fertilizer is really going to help a lot.
It is.
And it does. So I got some garden lime kind of thrown down a little bit in some spots, and some liquid seaweed I got to build up here in the next couple of days and go out and start applying everywhere.
And you got that ditch. You're going to pull the muck out.
Yep, I'm going to start doing that here. I ordered a couple parts to fix that little gate out back that I'm working on. So once I get that done,
Gated
then,
community.
yeah, I'm trying. I finally the dogs cannot get
Alligator.
they can, but they got to climb some pallets.
2 fences, right?
Yeah,
That's good.
so I
Yes.
got kind of a 2-stage
Awesome.
setup, but it's been a great time out there getting all that done.
The last time I saw your garden was like 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago.
Totally different.
Yeah, like I saw that it. Every time I see it, something new is underway. I love to see it now.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
It is.
It's fun. I'm really digging it. It's
Scott's got a green thumb, by the way, if y'all don't know.
I
Big time.
you got me worried about
So
that
does
lemon tree
Pops.
out back, man. I really think it is
That lime,
something.
the yellow dragon.
I fertilized it with some citrus fertilizer about a month ago,
Yeah.
so now I just threw some more stuff down. Everything's growing, so I'm going to let it continue.
Let the doctor
So
check it out.
but I'm
Andre.
going to kind of just keep messing and keep kind of playing with it. I was reading some stuff. You can add some magnesium, some calciums, and some different things. And if you do it right, it can overcome it if it's a young tree.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't think it will though.
I've not heard too many people with that optimistic outlook, on, not just a plant,
Yeah.
but on the orange crop globally in general.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, everybody's kind of going to squeeze it till it's done.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all you can do. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't found like varieties.
They're working on it.
Yeah, because I got a little key lime back there, and that's just a Myers lemon. And man, lemons have always kind of had good. Like the old one I had really good success in my neighbors too. It just watered it, and I think it was killing it. It's huge.
So if anybody also doesn't know that this place here where we're in Titusville and everywhere around here used to be like just orange groves everywhere. And if you knew where some trees were, you could go cherry pick like, oh, there's an African one here and this and that. But just So many.
between grapefruit and oranges
parish
and
deal.
just tangerine, everything was here.
Everywhere, yeah, pretty much free
Just
cities.
groves everywhere.
Yeah.
Nevins and Hale. I mean, we still deal with a couple of them.
And that
Florida
drive,
growers and some of the other guys that.
and that drive that we do sometimes, like on
Yep.
Sunday up the Hammock Road up
Yep.
there, seeing all that rolling hills. It's kind of
And now it's just getting bought up, and some of it you can see some, someone trying to
the
replant.
cemetery, the new cemetery up there.
Oh, yeah.
The big dog. It's
There-
beautiful.
The little grove on Garden Street that's just off of by South Lake.
Oh yeah, old
They used to
school.
always have like a little sale, a citrus sale out front, like once a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
And they haven't done it, or I haven't seen it in
They
a
got
while.
sea grapes there.
Well, they've gone through and it's actually on the other side of Garden Street that I'm talking
Yeah,
about. But I saw they took a bunch of the old trees out, and I saw some, where they were trenching some new rows. So they might be planting something new there.
They got a microclimate there from the South Lake, right? Like
Yep.
Merritt Island, like Tropical Trail gets
Yeah.
water on both sides of them.
And you can see the citrus trees are hurting,
Yeah,
Everything's
everywhere.
but-
My orange trees are done, and I'm gonna get me a centennial fruit, like centennial. I think that's what it's called. Your fake pops has one.
Yeah, Centennial.
Yeah, because they do the trick. They're not as juicy or sweet, but they're
So this
pretty satisfying. Yeah, and you
Cool.
eat the skin too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What about the loquats and stuff like that?
I think that is a cross between like one of them kumquat, loquat, and like what are those little tiny oranges that you used to eat? I don't see them a lot, but you can eat them with the skin.
Yeah.
Kumquats, you can do that.
What's that called?
I think it's the kumquat,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah,
then the
kumquat.
loquat is the one that's got the little bit of the orange with the little fur, like the native ones that kind of grow out.
Maybe
out
they
back.
crossed them or something. They share a genus or something
Maybe.
like that.
Or,
Crane could tell us.
Lychees also have that's kind of like a furry.
I love those summer fruit.
So, yeah, man, it's been pretty cool.
I don't know. I mean, and it's I think it's expected when it comes to a top-notch citrus tree like lemon tree or lime tree. I mean, to keep them for a long time is a pretty good run. Even the trees that we had that produce mandarins and tangelos, we've had them for like I think
30?
yeah, 30 years. They basically went bust. They basically started to die after my senior year. So, or
Yeah.
a little after my senior year. So, we had them for, I'll say at best 25 years, maybe, or between 20 to 25 years, maybe less.
There used to be a guy in Cape Canaveral that had 16 varieties of citrus grafted onto one root stock.
Wow.
I don't know if he's still around doing it, but
Hey, let's take a little break. When we come back, I wanted to maybe, Che, we always go down a cool rabbit hole,
All right.
and I think I have one for us.
Okay.
And it's a touchy subject, so we'll have to dance lightly.
it's about nerves.
But
nerve endings.
just everything that's going on with Israel right now, and there's a ceasefire, I guess that's technically underway right now. I don't really want to get into the dirtiness of it. But,
or get too political into it either.
Totally not. But at the same time, everything that's going on in the schools, from the media perspective and how they're handling it. But T brought up a really good point behind it, and that was the, like when wars are breaking out and everything, education, takes a big hit, right? Like, what's the repercussions of some of that stuff? So let's we'll talk about it
Okay.
Epic.
after the break.
Cool.
After the break.
Alrighty.
Muy gracias. Hey, man. Oh, what time did Colton leave?
Let's see, he left.
Like 6 o'clock.
Something like that. He left shortly after.
Taking some steps and counting my feet. Where will I go next? And will I believe that everything I said will come to me? Knowing the truth ain't plain to see. And I'm just looking for sidewalks in this town. There's cars flying past me, but no one is around. It makes me think that I have no place to go. I'll just keep walking down these streets until I know. To shed. I wish I know what goes on in my head. Maybe these sidewalks aren't made for me. Maybe I'm just meant to be free. And I'm just looking for sidewalks in this town.
And we are back from break.
There we go.
We're back.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
So, do you speak Italian?
Yeah, I can speak Italian.
Can you finish the second half of the podcast only speaking in Italian?
Oh, that'd be
To
so.
every answer or every question?
Can speak it mostly well. The only thing that I can speak it fluently. Maybe some words might not come to mind immediately, but yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He speaks all kind of languages, and
Even when I go to Italy and I see family, sometimes I bring a pocket dictionary because there's some words that, because when you know Spanish, you can be able to figure out the Italian word of that Spanish word, but sometimes, yeah.
then you have to tell us an example. Come on now.
I was hearing somebody, T, was it you or somebody saying if you know, if you know Latin, you can pick up a lot of things, right? Is that what you were telling me?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is that what you understand is that when Italian was cultivated, if I were to provide a very hasty conclusion without going into the details, one can say it all started with Dante, because Latin was the language of the educated. Now, every country had its own language, or every kingdom had its own language at the time, but Latin was basically the international language, one that the church preached, because the Bible was written in such.
That guy right there.
But then there's Santa Alighieri. But some consider that he was one of the
1495,
one of the fathers of the Italian language.
1255, 65.
And I was
We always got the big noses, don't we?
I got to see his tomb in Ravenna when I was there in 2019. But the thing about is that there's there's always that Italian
Do it again, Scott. Sorry. That's the face. Okay, please continue.
It's like, Argus and Dante stand still. We turn on the incense so that you can smell something. So you didn't have the perfect, I don't like this. Perfect. That's exactly the face you want. No, there's basically it started with with vernacular, basically like the language that the common people spoke. It was the street language. One can say that Italian was street Latin.
Okay.
If I'm to make a hasty conclusion on how Italian emerged, but he wrote it in Italian because it was something for everyone to read. Not everyone knew Latin because not everybody was educated, because education was not for everybody. It's something that you had to afford, incredibly expensive, and education back then, in many ways, is completely different from today. Now, I'll give you an example, and not necessarily starting with the medieval ages, but how are kids educated today? They go to school, and in their school they have a core class teacher. They have a science teacher, a math teacher, a social studies teacher, and an English language teacher, or their national language teacher, whatever the country they're living in. In elementary, one teacher did all that. And then in middle school and high school, you have a teacher for almost each subject. But back then, first of all, education was expensive because you're not just paying for the learning materials for the books. You're paying for someone who knows the material. And sometimes the person who knows the material, the teacher, is the one who recommends they create the curriculum. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's a company that makes a curriculum back then. The person who's the educated person is hired to teach that subject. You want your kid to know science, you hire a science teacher. To know language, a language teacher, a music teacher. It was not you go to a building, everyone learn. Now, eventually, they started creating those kinds of schools, but back then it was just one thing that many people, the common people, shared, if they could afford it, was the basics: reading, writing, and simple arithmetic. But the wealthy who could afford multiple tutors who could teach either one subject or more than one subject. Sometimes there'll be appointments. Sorry, you have to meet with your physics, your natural science or natural physics teacher. You have to meet with your mathematics teacher. You have to meet. It depends on what the parent wants the kid to learn, because the parent was.
I mean, and really, there's such a spectrum of countries that probably pay for and lay out for their people a way to educate. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's why they were like sometimes governments were in cahoots with religious institutions, because they say, hey, who's as educated as a priest? The priest were the teachers.
They're your historians, and they talk to the word of God. That's how they got that name into a lot of teachings and into more. I mean, it was a marketing between two different. Maybe it was a balancing act. It's keeping the peace. It's doing a lot of different things, and then it's laying out a history that your people can be proud of, and that they can almost worship.
Well, that thing, you're laying out a history of your country to be proud of and worship, but at the same time, they're laying out the future generations. That's the impact of education. You are basically prepping and influencing influencing the next generation. Now, how influential are you? Well, that depends on the sort of the sort of population
and just the education structure in general just needs to be robust and cared about. I mean, and like just in America's terms, I don't have anything to compare and contrast, and I have no way to judge other people's education versus my education. I can say that a lot of my education, I learned a lot. I loved my teachers. I loved all the institutions. I never had bad experiences. Yeah, you had a couple, hairy situations here and there, but I mean, that's part of growing up and learning too. And how thankful are we to have a place to go to learn every day? And you can almost there's so much there for you that there's it's almost as much as you want, you have access to. Well, and that's pretty cool. Not many people can say it the same way, I feel.
Well, it's crazy is that now we're the most bountiful we are in information. And because now information is easily accessible, not all information. I'm sure there's some things that are kept from us from knowing, but we have easy access. As long as you have a phone or some sort of internet access, or even near your typical library, you have access to information. Back then, getting your hands on a book was nearly like it was like a luxury. And again, and the crazy thing is, if you're one of those kids who's whether it's an upper class parent or upper middle class parent, especially after the plague, that's when the middle class began to emerge. You had to rely on what the teacher says, especially when the teacher worked for another institution, and they had to relay what the institution deemed that kids should know. Because again, we are basically creating the future workers and the future leaders, and we want them to run on our modem. And
so let me give you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
I'm going to make up my own way of educating my own country. And you tell me, give me some advice.
Okay.
All right. What's my country name?
X.
Scottopia.
Scottopia. Okay. North of Scotland. We are a frozen land. Yeah.
But a proud lot.
But a proud land.
Proud.
Well, Scottopia, Scotland, that's basically the same.
Yeah.
Land of the Scots.
Yeah.
We're not like Scotland. We're just a little bit more north.
Yeah. We sold Tainsville and we bought Scotland.
You can see the Scott Aurora Borealis from there.
Yeah.
We named it.
And okay, from my experience of American, whether it's from Kentucky or from Florida, that's the only experience I can draw from educational wise personally. Nobody really wanted to go to school and learn through your elementary through middle school. There was only there's only a spectrum, a small percentage of kids that are like, I love learning and I want to learn. The other half is like, I want to go play. I want to go outside. I want to go experience things. I want energy. I'm crazy. You know what I mean? And you got to fight to keep attention. You got to get real creative. And unless you have the right structure, it's very difficult for a teacher. And I've seen it through multiple experiences, you know, and I think some of them, even the bad ones, are a good learning experience sometimes because it teaches you how to navigate a hairy situation, right? And life is going to throw a lot of those at you. And you got to make a lot of decisions. A lot of them are based on no experience or somebody's advice, not from your experience. So you got to make those mistakes and learn from them, right? What if Scottopia? There's a little negative here, guys, because my idea could be a little gnarly to some. But instead of educating the young, energetic kids at first, only the ones that want to be educated, educate them. But the ones that don't, that want to go play and do things, find a way to monetize that energy, like put them to work, kind of, in an energetic way. But it's maybe doing something fun. You got to be creative, right? Can't be like
treadmills, copper and magnets.
If
we can't chain them up and do hard labor or put them in factories.
So you basically
and wear their little tiny hands to where they can't be adults.
So basically create a submissive workforce, or
but then like
Great idea,
usually
Scott.
when you're in your like 30s and that's when you really start trying to educate yourself and really kind of like, I know when I started hitting my 30s, I started caring about my education and things I did and didn't know, and I started getting interested in things at a much different rate. So maybe there's even a spectrum in my country on when you enter the education realm. Is like when you're ready and you're ready to tackle it. Maybe you still at a young age have to learn your basic reading and read at night or something, and read, you know, and do like math. You really don't need math anymore because you can just do it with a calculator. But if you're interested in the practice of math and advancing math and doing more with math, there's got to be some kind of structure of that too, and a basic knowledge of numbers and stuff.
well, I mean, if you're touching on item one, the kids the ones who don't want to be educated in this hypothetical world, let's say you had the majority of the kids don't want to learn. So, first of all, as ruler of this place, do you want them to be educated, or do you prefer that they do something productive in the country in general?
I want them like maybe I'm kind of leading towards happiness. Like maybe they want to, their education is working in on a farm or working with animals or doing any kind of something that's kind of cool and a daily experience that they're waking up and doing every day, instead of sitting in a classroom taking direction from someone
that's cool.
that they do or don't believe.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's like the school, you're getting all these different diets and they're eating all these different foods at different times, and it's all reacting to them differently, and they're all sitting in a classroom and you're telling them to all act the same.
I mean, do you want first of all,
Kind of want them to explore their aptitudes, right?
and let them explore,
Yeah.
have them explore their aptitudes. But sometimes, what if they find their academic aptitude too late? It's best if you let them find their academic aptitude while they are learning the basics.
See, I knew Che would come with some logic out of my upgrade my.
Yeah, you got to
my
get
country.
the regimented learning going early.
Because
find out what your groove is, right?
It starts with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Kids need a home with food, and they need the things that they need their bare necessities, and then after that,
Love and
The
belonging.
simple bare necessity.
you need, but passions and inclinations are not the most important of needs, but they eventually need them. But the thing is that to make them happy, I mean, you might say, well, I can get the ice cream makes a kid happy, but you're not going to give them a gallon or a quart a day, because that's a quick rate. That's a fast route to diabetes. It makes them happy, but you also to understand that happiness can reside in pleasure, but pleasure on the other hand cannot just be in one form. It has to be in put it this way: the best forms of of finding pleasure can be in that which can also be productive. They can, let them play, let them have their forms of recreation. But thing is, if you're running a country,
Don't take up their whole day.
they take out their whole because do you want generation and after generation to be steel workers and farmers, or do you want the population to be the ones creating the rockets and
Innovations.
making stuff that other countries envy and therefore increase your GDP?
Let me tell you this. In my country,
Literacy rates go up when that goes up.
in my country, in my ideal country, I would want money to not even be a part of the conversation. Really, I would want
So the country would be self-sustaining.
I would want the value.
It's connected.
I would want the value of what you're doing and what you're interested in lead the direction that you want it to take. I mean, I guess right now most societies are built on a money value system, but I feel like some of the happiest people, it's money's not a part of their life. It's usually like the financial, trying to be the best of the best, or the best company, or the best, athlete, or the best. Like maybe athletics is part of what these kids are like doing and racing each other and doing like speed kind of agility type of situations. Sure. Swimming type of things, fit, there's every, spectrum of things here, but, money would not be one of the ones that, the values that I would put at the height.
So
I wouldn't be trying to compete against the other countries for monetary power, but there is a part of, do you love where you live so much that you're willing to die and defend your country if harm doers are coming onto it? That's part of the equation. I guess I'm not playing into fully either.
Well, but if that would be the case, that means that this country will not be in any danger of other countries. This country is self-sustaining. This country, it's okay. Like, you do not need future innovators or inventors to survive.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
in this country,
it would really be like you're growing
fantasy.
It totally is, right? So you're growing food. Like, let's say everybody's got their house, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's built their house. There's like some kind of badass way. We all know how to build houses. Like like people build. We see in Indonesia and all these things on these cool ass videos where these people out of just like these little hand tools and clay build these whole houses and amazing structures are off their land. They just cut their timber down and they process it and build their homes and their situations. And some of them dig them in the side of caves and all these number of things. And then you grow your own foods. You trade with your people, in your foods, and you have like smart systems. It's
idyllic, and that's what I want.
That's the right word for it.
Because
idyllic.
What I want to know, like in this case, are we still in the hypothetical realm, or are we
totally
okay? Because if so, then if the country is in no need of a vast wealth accumulation and no concern of any invading, like the 100% safe place. I mean,
it is Scottopia.
It is utopia. Would education therefore be necessary? Yep. Would everyone be virtuous, or would they still need to be educated?
You still got the chimpanzee.
That's where it gets a little chunky, man, because
you got the logo. You won't need much of the logos, but what of the ethos?
In my progressive mindset that I'm trying to use in this fairy tale,
yeah,
I will say that my way of leadership in the right way, if designed properly, should limit the unhappy people wanting to do harm to other people to a minimum.
Scottopia.
But okay, but that will be an installation of ethics.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one more because I feel like I'm going down a wrong path of disaster.
Is it-
So I want to back. I want to give you a scenario B of Scottopia, and because I wanted to say round 1 goes to Che.
All right.
You answered me very well,
Thank
and you have dissected me into being insecure about my Scottopia right now under a no monetary system.
I just want to know that the
You feel-
parameters are in a very safe war of.
Yeah, no, you've made sure. Like, are you hovering in the sky and people can't get to you? Or like, I get it.
Forgive me, Scott. Just one thing, because my whole point is, in essence, education is survival.
Totally,
And that's-
totally.
So in that case, survival is in
So,
Scottopia.
I might win round 2 with alternate B. Are you ready?
Okay.
So we're in more of a futuristic situation here. Our youth, they're either working or they're running wild. Okay, not educated at all.
Do you have nanobots cleaning your feet?
Our 40-year-old pluses,
Yeah.
I mean, like in their 20s and 30s, they're just populating.
Okay.
In the younger, in their more adult stages, they're not having to stress about work. Are stressed about their educations and stuff. They can stress on building their families and all this
Star
kind of
Trek.
The shot.
Kind
So, like, right when that part happens, when it's time to really start being educated, okay, you get when that time comes, you get an AI Elon Musk Neuralink implant into your brain with all of the knowledge and information of all the languages and all the needs. It's like a ChatGPT AI for your brain. Boom, gets put in your head. Instantly you understand, know all the knowledge, you have everything, and now you're living that life. And you're educated already, and now you can go forward. So you get all the workers and the worker bees done early, then you auto-educate them, and then live the rest of their life. And then when they get super old, you give them, like, I don't know, young thoughts, or give them like little wisdom, decision-making little, I don't know about
Homo belugas.
because old people make bad decisions sometimes.
Oh, everyone can make bad decisions.
Oh, totally. That's true.
Well, the thing is, like, if so, we were saying that in this idyllic world, suddenly education's bestowed upon them.
It's like oh,
Because what
you
you're
know, you
describing
just
is-
like, yeah.
What you're describing is the myth of Pandora's box. Everyone knows everything, and they become negative about it.
Well, the AI has a brain hub that is with everybody's experiences and memories and knowledge that they're adding to the database. It's always updated. It's not like a set, hardware wallet.
But
It's going to be like,
well, you're making it's a good parameter because
It's Borg friendly.
because Borg friendly.
I mean, you don't want to like inject babies with Neuralink because their brains aren't ready for it yet.
You serve the Borg, but with conditions. We're friends. The high does not mind. Now,
Well, like, or maybe what you do. This is what you do at night when babies go to bed. You put this little device on them, and it's just feeding information into their little baby brains, and then all of a sudden, when they turn to a certain age, you just like
They pupate.
they walk through this magnetized. There's some situation that activates the freaking memories and makes them accessible, and then boom, they just like for like a week, they just sit back and.
Just
All these experiences are flowing. It's like a DMT experience.
I think it'd be-
and they just like flush through all this stuff, and then boom, all of a sudden, super intelligent, young adult badasses.
I think it'll be a bit of a nightmare for parents. You're a 7-year-old, and it's all innocent. Talks about bees and fighting dragons, and he goes to bed. You activate the chip. He wakes up the next morning. Does my little son want some breakfast? I find that the arguments that Jean Rousseau makes does not really affiliate well with that of Voltaire.
Yes, Dewey.
And that equates to the
yeah.
to the forthcoming French Revolution. And I don't imagine the nightmare of this spontaneous transformation of personality with education, because with growth comes development in personality as well. But imagine if they have all the information is suddenly given to them, It's again, I think it's a matter of ethos and logos. What weighs heavier, your value, your how much importance you give, whether to the amount of knowledge you have or to the values of the community that you believe in. Because let's say it's the community described, the Shire, everyone does their work, everyone is happy, everyone respects each other, and then suddenly they know the knowledge of everything. They basically know more than what they previously knew. Okay, so now you have an advantage. You have the ability to do more. You have the potential to do more because you have an increase of knowledge. Of course, let's say that someone shoved an entire textbook of quantum physics in your head, but are you able to apply it? Does that come with knowledge of application?
Yeah, there's an applier plugin in ChatGPT.
All right.
And so it applies it for you, your brain, and you just know it. It's just knowledge.
Che, that's a given. I thought you'd know that.
But see, what could suck is then we're all like a hive mind.
Yes.
But as long as it's algorithm toward the good side of hive.
But then what would be the purpose of this knowledge if the community was already ideal?
Like you're like, hi George, instead of hey F you George.
Well,
you know
that's
what
the
I mean? Like it just, you're always like, hey George.
Like if you suddenly know that
I'm gonna have chimpanzee feet and play the piano with him in this scenario.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I like that.
Imagine if you suddenly understand how how I don't know, black holes are developed. How I don't see how that directly changes your.
Well, nobody knows that yet. So until that is known, we can't even know it. So it can't even be put in the ChatGPT.
Well, that's the thing. It's
theories can't be put in there.
That's why we go right back to values and ethics, because actually, ironically, I brought up Jean Rousseau in that example because Jean Rousseau is known for the social contract, that we are basically inherently we're beasts, but we agree to rules and we agree to behave a certain manner so that we can have society. Our civility or our concept of
our
civility,
society's defensive mechanisms in principle.
Yeah, it's basically the unwillingness to inconvenience each other. Ironically, we are inconveniencing each other. There are those who benefit from a system while exploiting others who think that they're benefiting from the system, but they're not. However, we don't see anarchy occurring from this injustice because of powerless. Either some are too powerless, even though they're knowledgeable, or they're not knowledgeable and they're fine with being exploited, which is a sad reality because they're.
Or maybe that society hasn't built the proper motivational structure to their society to act in a way that's beneficial to the society.
But that's the thing. Imagine those who run society, they know they are more clever than others, and using that cleverness, they exploit others.
And see, that's where humanity comes in, is cleverness and deceit and trying to change the normal to, even if it's a good thing, we're going to make it easier and better. Like we always are progressing in our minds, and we don't settle. There's a percentage of us that do. Some of us want to just come home every day, sit down, read a book.
Yeah, like
enjoy their day. Some people want to go here, go there, go there. You know what I mean? And
yeah, like Cincinnatus, the Roman general, he was given basically dictatorial powers by Rome in order to defend, to protect, and improve Rome. And once he was able to accomplish his job, he gave up that power so he can go back to his farm and live the idyllic life that you describe. I plow my fields, or his slaves would plow the fields, and he would just enjoy every day without any worry, because that mattered more to him than sitting on a throne telling people what to do. That was the model George Washington followed after the Revolution. He handed over his sword to the Continental Congress. He says, "I'm done. I did my job. we're free. You guys handle the structure. I'm going to go back to Mount Vernon and take care of my own personal matters. I have no interest in hanging out in a building and telling people what to do. But then when he found out that the Articles of Confederation was an embarrassing disaster, is he had to step right in and accept the presidency just to help keep the country together for its first decade. Him and John Adams. So again, but again, these guys had power. Whether it's Cincinnati or Washington, they had power in their hand. They knew what they could do with that power, and they gave it up. Had nothing to do with how much they knew. It's in a way, it's not the information that they accumulated, but it's what they appreciated from examples that Washington learned from Cincinnati of being the humble leader.
I mean, like their value systems were like,
we fought against tyranny.
Yeah.
We're not going to become the tyrant to fight. After we fight tyranny, we hang up our jersey and we go to the quiet life.
And I'm not going to get
It's ethos again.
like certain societies will, it's all about growing and advancing and more. That puts a drive and an aspect into a human thinking that, it breeds this competition of more, bigger, better, faster, everything. And if the economy that's behind it, and they work in unison together, you can create some amazing things, but it can also, really fall apart. And maybe Rome is a little part of that.
Oh yeah.
America is a part of that. Other places are a part of that in their own ways. Everybody has their great aspects, and there's always like yin and yang. It seems in many occasions.
Yeah, you have your yin, but that's the thing. Think of our yin and yang. We have a primeval nature in each and every one of us. Not all the knowledge in the world cannot keep that, because it's more of it's like what again, to bring up Rome. It's like what Cato the Elder. I think it was Cato the Elder. He was one of the senators known for being a Stoic.
Yep.
I think it was Cato the Elder. I could be wrong. He said that to deal with the ambition is to argue with the belly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, not saying that you're necessarily hungry, but you are just, it's something that drives you, and you just thinking that if I have this, I'll be happy. If I have this, then
it's usually to get a woman to make a woman want you. You're peacocking,
or it's your habit of that vibe, that clinch and release of
like a bird when the birds do the little bird dances to get the woman, and there's 10 birds all dancing for the same woman.
You're basically
and they're like, well, I'm more colorful, so I'm going to get you first.
Well, I can say how it can be
Peacock.
more. It can be even more general than that. It's just to demonstrate to not just women but anyone. I am
to be feared.
I'm the one that you don't bother. But that's the thing. In order to have that mentality, you must have come from a place where you have been messed with in the past. It's a projection of trauma.
Yeah.
From those who become tyrants.
It's a defensive mechanism.
Yeah. A great example. Julius Caesar. Actually, Julius Caesar was a counterexample. Julius Caesar's had to escape from another dictator of Rome named Lucius Sulla. Sulla entered Rome. Sulla made himself dictator. Sulla killed every person, or almost every person, that opposed him in the Senate, that said he would become a tyrant, that he's taking advantage of the military, trying to control everyone. Mm-hmm. And he succeeded. And they said that the streets were drenched in blood. Like he killed thousands under his control. Caesar was almost one of them, but he survived. Fast forward decades later, Caesar becomes a respected general, and he's given Gaul to conquer, and he does, and he oversteps his orders, and the Senate puts him on trial in his absence, and you have a civil war, Caesar versus the Senate. And the Senate said, oh, great, Caesar's doing what Sulla did. He's going to war against his own country. But Caesar made it clear that I am not going to war against my country. They are charging me with something that I'm not present to defend myself. I'm willing to give up my army if I can explain, but he had to win a civil war against the Senate, and he won that civil war. And did he kill any senator that opposed him? No, he forgave every single one, including Brutus, his own father,
The barber beefcake. Yeah.
a son-like figure, which many people hint that he was his son. But he pardoned his enemies. And yet what happened to him? The very people he pardoned stabbed him to death. And many people use that as, see, you have to be a brutal tyrant. Like, no, you're just adding data to the traumatic mindset that you must be brutal to be secure. Mm-hmm. And again, this is where knowledge can be conflicted with experience.
And if that honesty of that happening was projected in an honest, proper way throughout, societies, more case studies of, somebody having a civil war and overcoming and forgiving, for their problems and maybe thriving through it, and happening a few times would say, well, it worked here, didn't work here.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's give it, and it could have a chance to blossom. But it's so difficult because propaganda and marketing plays such a masterful thing. And the people that play that game study the game and talk about the game and live that. And it's a hard thing to overcome when you're trying to just feed your family and, you know what I mean? Survive. You have these masterful thinking people in these tanks.
Wagging the dog, the tail.
And that information, I mean, the internet's helping make that information more reliable and more knowledgeable and statistical data. And, the more of the common people can understand things in a better way. And I think that's why you see news and information get trusted or distrusted at different proportions.
Absolutely.
Through social medias, through companies, through government-run companies, through whatever the case may be.
It's a sad reality, but it's true. And I like that Thad brought this up because it says a psychological utopia serves as an escape, delusional state individuals create within their minds detached from reality and often impervious to change. And how do we seek that utopia? By first trying to convince others that such a utopia
is possible.
Exactly. And it's possible. And so there you have your various interest groups with their own agendas. And then you have perhaps the most powerful group of people, the fourth estate, those who run the media, those who inform the people. Again, it narrows down to the information you give. The irony is that people can be in peace. If you were to take this going back to your utopia, people can be in peace, but imagine it all starts with a person with an agenda. And that person with the agenda says, oh, life is okay, but it'll be great if people saw the things the way I did, know the things I know, and perceive them as I know it.
Yep.
And there you start your conflict.
Yep.
Now, I'm sure, look at the medieval ages. Did we need a Protestant Reformation? Yeah. Did we need a Great Enlightenment? Yes, we did. Did we need a Great Awakening? Yes, even the Protestants needed a Great Awakening. The Great Awakening is basically when the Puritans were settled here. They eventually broke. It's basically how the Methodists and the Baptists were created. When the Puritans themselves created their own denominations. And
it's like Russia breaking up into a bunch of little parts. And everybody having their own little mini societies. You got, Europe has changed. And that's the Israel-Palestine. I mean, we can touch on all that. We've got a good enough for the episode, but we can get in detail on those in a future time too.
Oh, in the future. What I was basically trying to say, though, because I went too far, I was basically, such great movements that required people to be informed was because there was an actual situation where people, the majority of people were being oppressed to a staggering level. And those great changes occurred. We go back with education, with schools. Why does this country, why was when this country was founded, the founding fathers believed in public education? Because those founding fathers were influenced by the Great Enlightenment. In fact, some of them were members of the Enlightenment.
Yeah.
And those founding fathers understood the importance of education. What was the Great Enlightenment? To question all the conclusions that governments that were informed by religious institutions told people, this is the knowledge you need.
Yep.
And then you got your Galileo, you got your Descartes, you got Voltaire.
Relighting the lamp of learning.
Yep,
right?
that's hence Enlightenment. And they realized, if only people were educated hundreds of years, how we could have dodged a massive plague-infested bullet for those hundreds of years. Hence, when they realized the importance of educating the public, and I'm just simply saying, reading or writing, know their history, know their science. Imagine if the Great Enlightenment did not happen, we would still be believing that the Earth, the world did not, that we would still believe that the sun went around the world and not vice versa.
We'd be easier to oppress.
Easier to oppress, exactly.
Without,
and humanity a lot of times takes that easy route.
There's a now.
And if there's no hand-me-down knowledge, then the literacy rate and all the money and all,
it's all crazy. Yeah.
There is a catch. I mean, it's good. I think it's important that that the populace needs to be informed, needs to be educated. But there is a catch because there's a balance. There's a balance.
If you know too much, it can create too much chaos.
Well, even worse.
But basic levels in countries that don't have it is
some things can be disputed, some are facts. But even when facts are being questioned now, even though there's data to prove the facts, you have groups that are in complete denial of facts. So they say those facts are the facts that were established as facts were established by a biased mind. And that goes into a multi-tiered drop of insanity.
That's what makes it so difficult for people to solve their differences in historical arguments.
But I mean, if the crazy thing is, like, it can be solved if we accept that a line is drawn.
If they would just let me download my chip in their brain to think how I want them to think, then we'd be fine.
I mean,
you got to see it. Everybody's got to see it.
Yep.
Something good and imagine something good to have to effectuate it. Right?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, who calls the shots? That's what's frightening.
I know he's calling right here in my skull.
Think of
the societal shot caller.
Well, think of the island of Dr. Moreau. Who makes the law? The doctor? Imagine if
the island of Dr. Che.
Imagine if the beasts were educated. Would they be following Dr. Moreau's ruling? No, they would not, because he had basically his narrative on the creatures, because the creatures saw them as basically the father and
what was
whatnot.
That old one, Island
Podcast
of Terror.
The one with Charles Lawton, 1930s.
What was that one?
The Island of Lost Souls.
Lost Souls.
I think I like that one more than the John Frankenheimer, Val Kilmer version.
I like the Dr. Mephisto from South Park, personally.
I love that character.
The 8-ass one.
They did that. They did that intentionally to make fun of Brando.
So good, man.
But I don't want to stick too long on this, but going back, the biggest catch. Imagine congratulations, we have an informed society, but the problem is we kind of went backwards, because this is another type of regression. You see, it's great that people inform. They have options on what they want to be informed. But imagine if you have so many points of view, and some substantiated, some unsubstantiated, that now nothing can be resolved because everyone has their own narrative. And I mean, the ones who call the shots eventually, they determine what moves forward or not. But, when you have...
Except when things go all Mad Max.
It sounds to me like we need to be talking of the yin and the yang and of the balance of life.
there is no yin and yang in this context.
And it's a short life.
kinda.
Everybody's life, it's quick,
It's which would
real
be,
quick.
Which would be better, that one group determines what everyone thinks, or everyone can think what they want? Doesn't matter.
You have to find the right balance of those two things.
But that's where I feel where we are right now. You have myriad of social what do you call news stations of websites of groups that supposedly report news, but the sad thing is that they have an agenda, and if the information
entertainment, right?
that they are
Well, see, that's where money comes in. That's why my life is so cool on my planet or my island, is I don't have money to deal with. I know I do, but that's where it really comes into play. Is we got to end this, but I'll say this too, and any kind of closing shout outs that we need to give, let's do that here in a minute too. But when you allow your governments, this is on just me, this is my personal take, is to allow your senators, per se, to receive money from people who are earning money and employing workers to skew the views or the laws, to change the laws for the better of not the public, and not even try to make a case for how it's better for the public in a lot of cases, but how it helps save money for that individual person or company. So the percentage that main person gets is better. And then you as a policymaker are benefiting directly from that, whether it be through a market, like some kind of a stock market in that generation or era of, what I'm talking about, but
yeah.
It's that money infusion creates all of this corruption, and I feel like it's by design.
It is by design.
You know what I'm saying? And it's to do that. And I feel like the more and more that we have a history and a knowledge and an education on the mechanisms that can tear down or build up a society, I feel like the mechanism to, what do? You know what I mean? A lot of people just sit down and do nothing. And I'm not even some warrior that says we're going to, I don't have that in me. But the conversation and the thought process is there of like, what? Why is this happening, and how do I prepare my family for it, or my people that I love, or my society?
Well, that's where in the end it narrows down to the benefit of psychological utopia. The men who had power in the palm of their hands and relinquished it, it's because they had a standard, and that standard was the sort of standard one needs to live in that sort of utopia that they'd have in mind. Doesn't say that it will be possible. Utopias are practically impossible because everyone has to be of the same mind. But
because your senator and your leaders should be your common people.
Yeah, you cannot.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be your elite people, and when you do that, is when you create the oligarchies and all of the individual wealth and power people, and then and you can make so much money in a stock market like you can right now.
But that's where
you're just like, oh, we're just creating those right now, those hierarchies and those pillars.
You said how in the end, how can I better prepare myself and my family? And that's where that's where the importance of ethos comes in versus logos, because in the end, it's one, what do you define something that's progressive? What do you define that's benefiting in a healthy aspect, what you need? Because in the end, that's what you when you need to prepare your family, all you have left are your principles. When things don't go your way, is how am I going to carry myself? Do I just conform and go along with that, or am I the man in the arena? That is what it ends up with, and that is why, in the end, there has to be a yin and yang between ethos and logos. There has to be how much we know, but what is the best application of what we know in that situation? And I'm not saying like how do we use our the intelligence that we have, but more like what is best for everyone when it comes to that, even if it means at the sacrifice that not everyone's going to agree with you. You know, various news stations, they have their agenda. They do not. If they really stuck to the integrity of journalism, it would be a little more. This kind of news goes
It's such an important mechanism of society.
This kind of news goes against our agenda, but it's own, like, would it be fair if the people do know that even in the end they don't go along with our agenda? At least they're informed.
Yeah.
That is a modem of principle, and I cannot say that for many news outlets or social media posts, and that's what people need to strive to. And it is idealistic. It is so tempting to abandon your principles and give in to anger and
especially when you've been wronged.
Yeah,
that's usually when it happens. You're usually this
it's so easy
social justice warrior of some kind, and then something happens to where your hard efforts were shown to be not, fruitful.
To be indicated because somehow your ego was touched, and it's perfectly understandable that happens. But in the end, again, do you want people to see you as spiteful, or someone to say, I am so upset that they did that, but or I'm so upset they don't agree with me, but I am not going to tell them I'm not going to basically say you need to do what I say. More like, as long as your belief doesn't hurt others, that's fine by me.
So nebulous these days. Hey, did you like that?
Absolute power corrupts. Was that really General Talcum? I don't think
I thought
talcum.
Talcum is a powder.
What's that say?
Not a general.
I know.
I'm joking.
Absolute powder corrupts. I didn't see that B there. Jacques Derrida would be clapping because he mentioned something like that.
Well played, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
For another night.
And our shout-outs.
And
I really appreciate it.
2 shout-outs. Well, we got Alligator Rob coming on the show tomorrow night.
Yep.
And there's a cat from Central Florida.
He's got some big news for us, I think.
Yeah, he does. There's a dude from Central Florida. He's my friend. His name's Chris Zuli. He's in Fiji, charting some big waves, and he got whooped up a little bit.
Oh, man.
But he's good, and we're sending healing vibes.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you, Scott, for having me.
Thank you, too.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man. Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday, so shout out to all the mothers out there.
Shout out to the mothers.
Yeah. We love you, all the mothers.
Likewise.
I'm going to end this so I don't say anything goofy or funny on that.
So I hear a sample earlier. It was cool.
That's good with the shout out to the mothers.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Get off of that.
This is all going to be the Thad board instead of the soundboard coming up.
Well, he's doing full.
Daisies in a tube top, screaming from the top of her lungs. This all ends tonight. Daddy's on the floor, he's screaming for more. Saying you're gonna be alright. Dude, that's just killer. Oh, dude, that was awesome.